Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a very special gold making guide, and this is an updated version. So as you can see behind me, I have about 70,000 gold and I have invested in a lot of different materials. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to give you guys a more updated version of all the ways to make gold daily with tier 1, tier 2 and also tier 3 players. And those are daily farms who can get gold. As you can see behind me, one of our lovely viewers actually helped me to visualize and make things more smoothly. And we're transitioning into the Google Docs. I'm still learning how to do them properly, but it's more visual, more images, and also more links to different guide videos to make it easy for you guys. This document will also be available in the links below if you want to download. And also follow this guide as you go through. We also have some rough estimations for tier 3, tier 2, and also tier 1 players, what places you can make gold and how to make those gold. I'll also give you some of my tips and also new methods of making gold. I'll try to explain those new methods to you guys, including leveling up your order count, selling for skill gems, and also other ways of selling carries and buying map runs or selling your map runs. We'll talk about this in the video as well. Now, if you guys haven't seen our first video of to make about 5,000 gold daily, I do recommend still having a look at that one. This is a more updated version of the guide, and we do have the link for the previous video as well over here, because I'll be skipping some of the things we have covered about on this video, because I'll skim through them, but I'll share the new methods of making more gold, which can add up to anywhere from 8,000 gold daily or even 10,000 gold daily. We'll first talk about the things that is visualized over here, and I'll briefly talk about them. After that, we'll look into the new ways of making gold, and I'll spend more time explaining those to you guys because you might have seen our previous video as well. What I'll try to do is I'll try to cover the things that every player can do at any level. Then we'll focus on maybe the tier 2 and also tier 3 players. So coming over here, you can see that for the tier 1 players, we have the Chaos Gate, World Boss, Ghost Ship, and also the Chaos Dungeon, and also Guardian Raid. There's also the weekly Abuse Raid as well, which we'll talk about at the end, because that is more like a once a week thing. So those are more of the daily or checking the calendar event. And if you guys want more information on this, definitely check out the previous video. So on the rough estimate, the tier 1 and also tier 2 players, one of the major income for you guys will be the Chaos Gate to get a drop of the blue, purple, or golden maps. And if you party with 4 people, this can give you anywhere from 1,000 gold to about 4,000 gold, depending on the rarity of the map you have. Now, we definitely have explained this, so I won't cover this too much. One thing to notice is the world boss is much more beneficial to do at tier 2, because at tier 3 you can't actually do the world boss, because you need, I'll show you guys, so let's go back to the game, I'll show you guys. At tier 3 you can't actually do the world boss because you need over 1,385, which is like really ridiculous for players to get to right now. So tier 2 you actually get more world boss than tier 3. And also this is the similar case for the Ghost Ship. Tier 3 players actually can't really do the Ghost Ship, so this is too far away, as you can see over here. But there's other ways for tier 3 players to make more gold. Now over here on the side notes, what you want to see is we also have some notes about which of those are pairs, and some of those you do want to check each day for the world boss. And for the Ghost Ship, I do believe this is once per week. Initially I thought you can do this multiple times a week, but after a week I realized you can only do this once a week. But this does give more loot, but it is much harder. You expect it to revive a few times and maybe a few more times, so that one is a little harder. So those are the general things that you can make a ton of gold, and I have did some rough estimates of the income of those items. Now, one thing I do want to share with you guys is what I do with my tier 2 and also tier 3 materials, is that I do believe those materials will sell for a lot of price initially, but as more players become tier 2 and also tier 3, the price of those items will drop. So what I tend to do is I try to sell those items at a higher price. Maybe I sell them 10 hours after each daily reset. And then if I do need them, I can still buy them back after the daily reset. So this way I can, make a small pocket change, maybe 10% or maybe 5% extra gold. And for me personally, at tier 2 and also tier 3, I almost never buy leapstones. I always prefer to do my dailies and weeklies to get the leapstones. I'm happy to wait a little bit. The only time I bought leapstone is I'm trying to get my last item to plus 15, and that itself cost me a few thousand gold because I failed twice. So for me personally, I save a lot of gold not buying leapstone and selling them. So coming over to the list of ways I have discovered as a new method of making gold. This can be done at tier 2 and also at tier 3. And I do think most of the players will be looking at this way at tier 2. I'll try to briefly explain a few of them. I actually lost my recording for one of them, which was really sad, but I'll try to explain to you guys visually. So what happened is, how does this work is, people are selling Guardian Raid in my server, and those guardian raids are focused on the first clear of the bosses for tier 2 boss. The 4th boss and also the 8th boss have some difficult mechanics, and in order to get through them to get more leapstones, people are considering to get the tier 3 or tier 2 veteran player to help them to clear the raid. I'm not sure exactly how this does it because I'm not mechanically great, so I didn't go and help people with this. So what people seems to be selling is for the 4th boss to help someone else to clear it, it's about 200 gold. And for the 8th boss, which is the final boss for tier 2, they were selling for about 500 gold for this clear. Now, why does it make sense and why is it worth it if you want to buy it or if you want to sell the carry? If you're buying this, because once you clear the 4th boss, anywhere up to the 7th boss, it's very easy. And you'll be getting 18 leapstones per day if you get to the 7th boss. And this is why it's kind of worth it to buy the clear and then just get it over with. And also for the first clear of each boss, they do give a lot of leapstone. And because in my server, leapstones were selling for a lot, I'll still show you guys over here. So currently, even after many days after, leapstone are still going really high. They're selling for 180 gold each, and just by clearing your guardian raid, you get about 6 to 10 leapstones on the first clear. And this is why for players, this may be worth it. Consider doing this if you can't clear your guardian raids, or if you're good at this, you can sell the carry service. Because players were in the server asking for this, and players were in the server in the area chat with Northvan, they were buying this or they were selling this. Now the second part is also quite interesting. So this is the Chaos Gate maps. So if we come back over here, you guys know that we can get a blue, purple, or golden map from the Chaos Gate. So what players have started to do is they start to sell the Chaos Gate map runs. Now there's two things. You can consider selling those runs or you can consider buying those runs. I had a recording of me buying a run for the golden map for 1 entry. And that was lost, which took me ages, I couldn't find it. So let me talk about selling the chaos map runs. What you want to do is, you want to charge each player first. You want to invite them to your party, share the map to show them you actually have the map. You kind of want to prove them you're trustworthy, which is the hard part. We'll talk about this because there's a lot of scammers. Just be careful. Some people are scammers and people do talk about those names. So what people do is, when you are selling your map runs, you want to charge the gold first. And I do believe for a tier 2 golden map, they sell for anywhere from 800 to 1000 gold at the moment. So how you want to look at this is, if you're selling this, you kind of want to look at what people can get from a run. And for me, after doing one of those golden runs, I know you get 10 Moose Breasts and also 2 times a large purple pouch. So if we come to the marketplace, you can see that currently the Moose Breast is ridiculously high. Back then it was 80 gold, now it's 140 gold. So 10 Moose Breasts alone on my server is 1400 gold. And also you get a large pouch for tier 2. So you get two of those. So that's about 900 gold. So basically together, each of those golden legendary map runs give about 2200 goldish. So let's say 2200 gold. And this basically, that's why people can sell it for an entry for at least 1000. I bought my entry for 1200 gold. And I sold all the mats back then. And back then was selling for 80 gold per Moose Breath. And I sold all my mats back then for 2300 gold. And I made about 1100 gold of a profit. Now there's one thing I want to highlight with you guys for this method, is that if you're buying this, the seller will ask you to pay for the map first. So basically before he opened the map, he'll ask you to pay for it. This is when we want to be careful with scammers. What I did was I told him I'm recording this and I'm a YouTuber, so please don't scam me. And also I asked the other players in the party, do they know him? I had a look at his item level. He was like, 2 items away from the tier 3. So at the time he seems trustworthy, so I paid him first to get the entry. But there is a risk. I could have lost 1200 gold. So this method is massively profitable if you can find someone that is trustworthy. But if you get a scammer, you'll lose your gold. So I want to warn you guys, I tried this once, but the recording's lost. But yes, I tried this once, it worked, and I made a ton of gold, basically almost doubled my gold. But if you want to be careful, you want to be selective, you want to look at his items, you just want to make sure that he's trustworthy. But if you're selling those maps, you can charge the gold first. And just don't scam people, because people will report you. It's not worth it to be reported and to be hated on the server for scamming people for those maps. Now, as for the other methods of making more gold when you're tier 2, tier 1, or tier 3, we have talked about this as well. In the weekly shop, there is items that we can purchase. So if we come to the weekly shop over here, what I'll show you guys is, this is the cash shop by the way, you can see the items that are available over here. If you have enough gems, you can buy those items, but you want to check the value pricing. Currently in my server, the value pricing is ridiculously high. It's about 500 to 95 gems. Before it's about 95 to 95, then 200, then 300. So the price has went up, but there's still item that is worthwhile. For example, if we have a look at the solar blessing, which I'm currently needing, each of those sell for 400 gold in my server. So that's 6,000 gold worth of value for 150 gems. So those are still deals that can be worth it, and you can kind of make a profit. What I mean by that is, you can buy the non-tradable ones and sell the tradable ones you have. Notice I have, 54 non-tradable ones. I have the 41 tradable ones. The tradable ones can be sold for profit. And this way you can use the non-tradable ones. Now those are the materials I'm keeping for tier 3. You can do this for tier 2 and also tier 1 materials at your level. And finally, for the selling of gears in the auction house and also trying other skills and also life skills for earning gold, I'll briefly talk about this. I do want to do more research on this part. So basically, if we come over to the auction house, you can see that we have, over here I have items listed. I'll talk about selling of those items, the gems, very soon. And also you can see my sell history. I have sold a bunch of those items, and those also makes you additional gold. Some of those items can be sold at tier 2, and I'll tell you guys how to filter and how to find which items to sell and how to make gold from selling those items. And I want to do this properly in a video, so right now we'll list the possibility of making more gold using the auction house by selling those items. But next few videos, I'll do a focus guide on this one. Now over here, I do want to spend some time briefly talk about selling the skill gems for gold. We have talked about this in our previous video, and there is a link for this video over here about selling tier 2 and also tier 3 gems. What I can estimate, if you follow this method, maybe you can make about 100 gold a day for selling the tier 2 gems, and you can consider this can sell up to about 2,000 gold a day for selling tier 3 gems. And just to show you guys what I mean by that is, if you look at my auction house selling history, each of the tier 3 level 1 gems I was selling for anywhere from 180 gold to 200 gold. And we get about 10 of those a day in the KS dungeon daily with tier 3. So this is definitely a way to make gold, and you should be aware of this. So definitely check out this video if you want to be selling your gems, and you don't want to sell them while the price is still high, because as more people do those tier 2 and also tier 3 dungeons, the price will go down. Oh, I'm thinking this is the way, unless people drive the price up and with gold inflation. So this is, to be expected. Let's see how this works. At the moment, price seems to be falling. Now coming over to more ways to make more gold. We have talked about creating alt characters on the same account. And for a tier 1 alt character, this makes about 140 gold selling the tier 1 mats. But some of my guildmates and also other players have been telling me they have been slowly trying to get 1 or 2 characters to tier 2, and they are selling tier 2 mats. One of the biggest thing of this is, because we saw earlier, the lipstones in my server sell for 180 gold each. And if they do the guardian rate, and they can make about 1000 gold per day on each of the tier 2 alt account. And this is pretty big. So how they did this is, they didn't buy any of the tier 2 materials. They had a lot of lipstones just by doing the farm on tier 1 dungeons. And for the tier 1 materials, they stopped selling them. They used the tier 1 materials to level up the tier 2 characters. This will be an initial investment. They also get more lipstones doing the dailies on this alt account, alt character. So by doing this, they have slowly gotten 1 or 2 characters to tier 2. And I do want to recommend you guys, if you do plan to make characters to tier 2 with your alt characters, there's one thing you want to be aware. Come to the lab. So this is, I'm in a stronghold. Go to the lab research, and I want to show you guys this as well. I plan to start this, but I want to make the video too. Go to roster help. And roster help over here, you have increased chance of tier 1 homing material after you have gotten 1 account to tier 2. Once you get an account to tier 3, you have increased chance of homing for tier 2. So you want to research those. And basically this will help you to increase your chance of getting your characters from tier 1 to tier 2. And this can, this can massively increase how much gold you can make at any stage of the game. So this is for players who are currently tier 2 to consider getting another character into tier 2 and get materials this way. It is a long-term investment, but this could be worth it. Now, as we keep going for other ways to make more gold in the game, this particular method is currently more targeted towards the tier 3 players. I am working on the Excel value calculator. I have finished my recording. I'll be posting that video after this one. So what is happening with tier 3 players, as you know, with the KS exchange, you can make anywhere from 20,000 to 30,000 gold weekly, which in average you make about 5,000 gold a day if you spend 1 to 2 hours just doing the KS dungeons. It is a little boring, I have to say, but you do kind of want to know what resource you're exchanging. So this is the Excel I made for you guys. And on the next video, I'll explain how this works and how you can input values to make anywhere from 1,000 gold to 2,000 gold every hour. So I do think this is quite important, and I do want to spend more time on this. So the next video will cover this for the tier 3 players. And this is one of the biggest ways I was making gold on tier 3, because I spent about an hour doing this. And this is why once you get to tier 3, you're looking at close to 10,000 gold every day by doing this and other things in the game. Now finally, we also have the trading mechanics in the game. Now we have talked about this in more details in the 2 previous videos, so I don't think I need to cover too much at the moment, but just one thing to share about the marketplace. So just make sure you guys have a look at those 2 previous videos. So start with the basics of the market trading, and then have a look at how I made so much gold on free-to-play with marketing as well. So just a little thing to add with the current market. Currently, the market price seems to be very high for the 2 items I recommended. So for my server at least. So the 2 items I recommended were Star Spread to try to buy them at 20 gold or around that, and also try to buy Myth Breath around 80 gold. They have been much higher. So I am looking into a lot of other items to invest. Notice I'm stocking up on different items, even the stones, I'm looking into those. So what I do is, in the future videos, I'll update you guys with more items that can be trading in the marketplace. And we don't just focus on 1 or 2 items. We can be focused on different items, and when they go up in price, we'll look into that as well. And finally, just as a reminder for the value to be gained with Abyss Raid, so those with tier 1 players, you can get about 200 to 800 gold depending on your loots. Tier 2 players can be anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000 gold if you get the correct loots. And you can also sell some of the sellable trade tier 2 items because they have the class engraving on them. They do sell for gold. We'll talk about this more as well on the next trading video with items to sell with Auction House. As for tier 3, I haven't done my raid yet, but I do estimate you make a lot of gold. But I'm still waiting for my guild to be ready for tier 3 raid, and this might take us 1 or 2 more weeks. So finally, coming over to some estimates. So over here, I basically just took the gold values we had from the start. So I took the gold values from over here with the different tier of players, and I kind of did an average of those. So you can see the gold values I did over here, and I did some pretty much rough estimations, the KS dungeons, the KS gate, the different maps. And at tier 3, there seems to be a lot more gold if I was doing my KS dungeon exchange. And finally, I did a bit of trading gold. So this is roughly about 8,000 gold to 10,000 gold around for tier 3 players, if you consider all the methods I talk about. But you can make more gold if you try the additional method. This is more for the tier 2 players. Because tier 3 players, you can spend more time doing your KS dungeon. For the tier 2 players, the additional method we talk about over here can be more helpful, because at tier 2, it's much harder to get gold. And finally, as for the tier 1 players, it is a little harder for you guys because more of the content opens up at tier 2. What I do recommend is go back to some of our guide videos, like how to go from tier 1 to tier 2. Look into the islands, look into the quests, look into the farm, and look into the routes, and consider getting to tier 2 when you can. Because a lot of resource, a lot of free gold opens up at tier 2. This also has a report guide, which gives you about 4,000 gold for doing a report for 30 minutes. There's a lot of gold to be earned at tier 2. So definitely try to get to tier 2 when you can. And at tier 2, you can see the gold difference with tier 2 and tier 3 is not that big if you know where to find the gold. Okay, I know that's a pretty long video. Just to finish off, I'm estimating I spend about 2 to 3 hours at tier 1 and tier 2. I do spend at least 1 extra hour playing each day at tier 3 because I'm doing my KS dungeon. And before we finish, I do want to remind you guys to have fun in the game. We will be updating this calculator and also methods of farming for different things in the game daily for each of us to make more free-to-play gold. And I just want to remind you guys, make sure you have fun. Don't get too caught up with making as much gold as you can. It's okay sometimes to skip a day or to just have some rest. It's okay as well. But just do the basics when you have the time. And just a little teaser for the video I'm working on at the moment. I am working on a homing guide, and this is for anywhere from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And over here it's a work in progress. You can see all the numbers, and I want to prepare this guide for you guys. It has been taking me one or two days now, and it's a big Excel. I'm pretty slow at it. So once that's done, I'll hopefully have another guide for you guys to share more information to save gold on getting your gears to plus 15. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure you do so, because we'll be getting a lot of guides, a lot of tips as I discover them, and I love the game. So I want to share as much as I can with you guys, and let's have a great time in Lost Ark as we explore this game and get the most out of it.